lovely good evening and welcome to Camnet TV main news today, the 15th of July in the year 2026. Let's now take a look at the news headlines. DEC denies plot to arrest Brian Mundubile. AIPAC urges government to discipline ambassadors engaging in partisan politics. NUPPEZ urges government to invest in teachers to sustain education reforms. In international news, UN warns terrorist threat is spreading across West Africa and the Sahel. In sports news, government starts clearing Copper Queen's arrears ahead of WAFCON. Join us for these and many more stories after the break.
In every celebration, there's a simple choice being made. To belong, count me in. Moments of love and promises for tomorrow, count me in. At the checkout line, in the middle of an ordinary day, a reminder that every number matters. Count me in. Across our communities, our streets, the same message finds us. Count me in. From the everyday worker to the hands shaping our future every day, the call is the same. Count me in. And around the traditions that bring us together, the message becomes impossible to ignore. Count me in.
This election season, your vote counts. Get your NRC and voters card ready.
Count me in. It's morning again in Zambia. Today, millions of our children will go to school more than ever before in the history of our country, because free education is opening doors that were once closed. Today, with over 40 million kwacha to spend, communities will build clinics, improve schools, drill boreholes, and transform lives using the increased CDF. Men and women will walk through markets and stations freely, without fear or intimidation from cadres. But the journey is not over, and we still have more work to do.
We've started the change. Now let's finish the job. On the 13th of August 2026, vote for Hakainde Hichilema as President of the Republic of Zambia. And let us continue to move Zambia forward together.
Camnet TV News now showing on the following platforms: Top Star Channel 106, Can Stream app, streaming also on YouTube and Facebook. With the main news in detail, I'm Tapelo Joe Smata. The Drug Enforcement Commission DEC has dismissed as false and misleading social media claims alleging that it plans to arrest and detain National Reconciliation Party for Unity and Prosperity NRPUP presidential candidate Brian Mundubile for political reasons. In a statement issued on Wednesday by DEC Deputy Public Relations Officer Teresa Mawere, she said allegations that Director General Nelson Banda had instructed officers to arrest Mr. Brian Mundubile to influence the political landscape were baseless and intended to undermine the Commission's integrity. Ms. Mawere said DEC operates independently and carries out investigations and arrests strictly in accordance with the Constitution and the laws of Zambia without political influence or affiliation. She said all investigative decisions are guided by credible evidence and established legal procedures, adding that it does not initiate investigations or arrests based on political considerations. Ms. Mawere further accused some individuals of attempting to use the Commission as a platform for political contestation by spreading sensational claims that have no factual basis. She warned that the She warned that deliberate publication and circulation of false information could cause public alarm, damage individual reputations, and erode public confidence in state institutions. DEC reaffirmed its commitment to executing its statutory mandate professionally, impartially, and without fear, favor, or prejudice, saying it would not be distracted by attempts to politicize its work.
The Drug Enforcement Commission wishes to strongly refute false and misleading social media allegations claiming that its Director General, Mr. Nason Banda, directed the arrest and detention of National Reconciliation Party for Unity and Prosperity presidential candidate Mr. Brian Mundubile for political reasons. The Commission reaffirms that it operates independently and professionally, and that all investigations and arrests are undertaken strictly in accordance with the Constitution and the law, based solely on credible evidence and established legal procedures. The Commission further wishes to state that it will not allow itself to be used as a platform for political mileage or by malicious individuals seeking to gain publicity through baseless allegations. DEC cautions members of the public against the deliberate dissemination of false information that undermines the confidence in state institutions and reiterates its unwavering commitment to executing statutory mandates impartially, professionally, and without fear, favor, or prejudice.
The Action Institute for Policy Analysis Center, AIPAC, has called on the government to discipline ambassadors and civil servants who engage in partisan politics, saying such conduct violates the Constitution and undermines Zambia's diplomatic credibility. In a statement issued on Wednesday to Camnet News, AIPAC Executive Director Solomon Ngoma criticized recent remarks by Ambassador Andrew Banda, arguing that ambassadors as career diplomats and civil servants must remain politically neutral while serving the Republic. Mr. Ngoma said ambassadors who openly campaign for political parties compromise the integrity of Zambia's diplomatic service and weaken the country's international standing. He also urged senior civil servants to respect the Secretary to the Cabinet's directive requiring public officers who wish to participate in active politics to resign or face disciplinary action. Mr. Ngoma expressed concern that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs had allegedly failed to take disciplinary action against ambassadors who engage in partisan political activities while remaining in office. He warned that previous court rulings against former cabinet ministers who were ordered to repay unlawfully received funds demonstrate that public officials who disregard the law can face legal consequences.
Remind Mr. Banda that ambassadors worldwide are civil servants and career diplomats mandated to serve their nations with maturity and professionalism. When they openly campaign for political parties, they undermine the foundations of international relations and compromise the integrity of the diplomatic service. We further advise senior civil servants to show respect to the Secretary to Cabinet, whose directive is clear that civil servants who involve themselves in active politics must resign or face disciplinary action. It is troubling that this directive is being undermined, and we are equally concerned that the Permanent Secretary for Foreign Affairs is failing to discipline ambassadors who openly engage in partisan politics without resigning from their stations. Such disregard for authority weakens institutional credibility and erodes constitutional order. History has shown that the law eventually catches up with those who disregard it. Remember the case of former cabinet ministers who were compelled by the courts to repay money unlawfully received after dissolution of parliament. These representatives demonstrate that civil servants and ambassadors who involve themselves in partisan politics risk facing similar consequences in future. Such behavior is unconstitutional and counterproductive. By engaging in partisan politics, ambassadors and civil servants inadvertently decampaign their own president through the corporate vote. Once a candidate loses legitimacy in the eyes of the corporate sector, The political party itself should be deeply concerned. Respect for the constitution and adherence to the foreign relations and policy are the bedrock of Zambia's credibility in the global arena. Even in countries with authoritarian tendencies, ambassadors and civil servants are not permitted to openly campaign for political parties or involve themselves in partisan politics. Zambia's diplomatic standing is weakened by individuals who lack a proper grasp of their roles and responsibilities.
The National Union of Public and Private Educators of Zambia, NUPPEZ, has urged the government to increase investment in teachers' welfare, warning that the long-term success of education reforms depends on a motivated and well-supported teaching workforce. In a statement issued on Wednesday to Camnet News, NUPPEZ Executive President Dr. Charity Kampamba acknowledged government's process in expanding access to education through infrastructure development, teacher recruitment, curriculum reforms, the expansion of the school feeding program, and the enactment of the free education policy into law. However, the union said these gains must be matched by improved conditions of service for educators, including timely payment of allowances, adequate teaching and learning materials, and safe and conducive working environments. Dr. Kampamba said teachers remain at the center of the country's education system and that quality education can only be achieved through motivated, competent, and professionally supported educators. The union also appealed to the government to prioritize teachers serving in rural and hard-to-reach areas where many continue to work under difficult conditions marked by inadequate staff housing, poor access to electricity, clean water, healthcare, internet services, reliable transport, and essential teaching resources.
As NUPPEZ, we acknowledge government's continued commitment in strengthening the education sector through sustained investment in infrastructure, teacher recruitment, curriculum reforms, expansion of the school feeding program, and the successive enactment of the free education into law. These interventions have greatly improved access to education and created opportunities for thousands of learners, particularly those from vulnerable communities. Free education policy, which is now law, has brought everyone on board. In today, everyone is in school. Why? Because there is no fee attached to it, and it has given everyone a space in which they will gain and acquire the relevant education that is supposed to be acquired. The union, however, wish to emphasize that the long-term success of these reforms will largely depend on the welfare, motivation, and professional support accorded to educators. Here we are looking at how the manager, in this case, this is an educator, is supposed to be motivated. If an educator is motivated, we expect the results that even in the recent past we've never expected. Why? Because we have a motivated workforce. And to this effect, we are simply saying, can we have a motivated educator?
The Zambia Police Service has launched investigations into a viral video circulating on social media that allegedly shows a young woman being assaulted by a female individual dressed in a police uniform. Police Public Relations Officer Godfrey Chilabi said the service had taken note of the footage with serious concern and had immediately instituted investigations to establish the circumstances surrounding the incident. Mr. Chilabi said digital forensic officers were analyzing the video to identify all individuals involved and determine the authenticity of the footage. He appealed to the alleged victim, her relatives, witnesses, and anyone with information related to the matter to report to the nearest police station to assist with investigations. Mr. Chilabi reaffirmed the service's zero-tolerance stance on gender-based violence, stressing that anyone found responsible for the alleged assault would face legal action regardless of their position or status. He said the police service remained committed to upholding the rule of law, protecting the rights and dignity of all people, and ensuring accountability within its ranks.
The Zambia Police Service has noted with serious concern a video currently circulating on social media depicting an incident in which a young woman is allegedly being assaulted by a female person dressed in police uniform in the presence of other women. The Zambia Police Service wishes to inform the public that investigations have been instituted to establish the full circumstances surrounding the incident. Digital forensic officers are currently analyzing the video footage to verify its authenticity and identify all persons involved. The service further appeals to the victim, her relatives, witnesses, or any person with information regarding the incident to report the matter to the nearest police station. The Zambia Police Service maintains a zero-tolerance policy towards all forms of gender-based violence. Any individual found to have participated in the alleged assault will be dealt with in accordance with the law, regardless of their status or position. The service remains committed to upholding the rule of law, protecting the rights and dignity of all persons, ensuring accountability within its ranks. Further updates will be provided as investigations progress. Anyone with information that may assist the investigations is encouraged to contact the Zambia Police Service toll-free line, emergency lines 9010 or 9011.
Government says it is working to formalize Zambia's cosmetology industry by supporting entrepreneurs to meet quality, hygiene and safety standards. Minister of Commerce Permanent Secretary Lilian Wadia says the move is aimed at empowering businesses in the sector, most of which are owned by women, while protecting consumers from unsafe beauty products and unhygienic practices. She says about 80% of cosmetology businesses are owned by women, and supporting the sector directly contributes to empowering women entrepreneurs and mothers. Ms. Wadia has encouraged players in the industry to take advantage of available institutions that help businesses formalize their operations, test products, register trademarks, and improve compliance with market standards. She says businesses involved in producing cosmetics should ensure their products are tested and certified before being released for use on human skin. Ms. Wadia has also warned that unhygienic practices in salons and barbershops can contribute to the spread of diseases, while counterfeit and unsafe beauty products can cause skin damage.
Government recognizes that cosmetology contributes to job creation. Every salon and every barbershop employs and trains 3 to 10 people. This sector is keeping households of Zambian youth productive and in employment. Government also recognizes that 80% of salon owners are women. When we support cosmetology, we directly empower women entrepreneurs and mothers. Whilst government recognizes the positive contribution of cosmetology to the Zambian economy, we have concerns about standards and hygiene. As was highlighted, the Ministry of Commerce has a number of these bodies that can help your institutions get formalized. You have your product tested so that it can meet the market standards. You have your product labels. You have your names that need to be registered as trademarks, so you can come to our institutions and that can be you can be assisted to formalize. So I just want to emphasize that poor hygiene in salons, barbershops can cause disease. Fake products can also cause damage to skin, and therefore government will ensure that the citizens are protected. Hence we encourage all those that are gone into production of these different kinds of products to have your products tested and certified for use on a human skin, so that we avoid dangerous things to happen. I'm aware that one of the major challenges facing cosmetology sector is access to finance. I'm therefore imploring financial institutions and business development providers to design and offer financial products for the sector.
The Lusaka City Council LCC has announced that rehabilitation works at the Kafue roundabout are 90% complete, paving the way for similar upgrades at the Kawe roundabout. In a statement issued on Tuesday, LCC said the project is being carried out by Wonderful Group of Companies Limited under its Corporate Social Responsibility CSR program with the Council's Department of Engineering and Infrastructure Development supervising the works. The Council said the rehabilitation project aims to improve the city's road infrastructure while enhancing the aesthetic appeal of one of Lusaka's key traffic junctions. LCC added that once the Kafue roundabout project is completed, it will immediately begin rehabilitation works at the Kawe roundabout in partnership with Wonderful Group of Companies. The local authority reaffirmed its commitment to collaborating with stakeholders to deliver quality infrastructure that supports economic growth and improves the quality of life for residents. The council urged motorists and other road users to follow traffic guidance and observe safety measures around the construction site as the remaining works are completed. LCC also appealed to members of the public to protect public infrastructure by refraining from vandalism, saying preserving public assets is essential to ensuring they continue serving residents for years to come. The statement was issued by Lusaka City Council Public Relations Manager Chola Mwamba. The National Health Insurance Management Authority, NIMA, has reaffirmed its commitment to paying accredited healthcare providers on time as it steps up efforts to improve claims processing and strengthen healthcare service delivery across Zambia. Speaking during the opening of a week-long claims protocol and reconciliation sensitization workshop in Lusaka, NIMA Director General Dr. Michael Njapao said healthcare providers remain vital partners in delivering quality services to members of the National Health Insurance Scheme, NIS. Dr. Njapao said the workshop has brought together representatives from accredited private, public and faith-based healthcare providers across Lusaka province to strengthen the understanding of claims management procedures, reconciliation processes and claims protocols. He said the initiative is intended to improve efficiency, accuracy and accountability in claims administration. He stressed that NIMA remains committed to meeting its obligation to pay accredited healthcare providers for services rendered to NIS members, adding that continuous dialogue, capacity building and stronger claims management systems will help improve efficiency and ensure sustainable healthcare delivery. Dr. Njapao acknowledged that the authority has faced operational and financial challenges that have affected payment timelines. However, he said NIMA has introduced measures to improve claims processing, strengthen verification procedures, and speed up reconciliation processes. The authority said the workshop forms part of its broader efforts to enhance partnerships with healthcare providers while promoting efficiency, accountability, and improved service delivery under the National Health Insurance Scheme. The Tobacco Board of Zambia, TBZ, has launched a verification exercise after some tobacco growers had loan repayments wrongly deducted from their tobacco sales for loans they neither contracted nor authorized. The board has directed all affected growers to immediately submit their tobacco sales reports and copies of their national registration cards, NRCs, to the nearest TBZ regional office to facilitate investigations and possible redress. TBZ said it became aware that during the 2025-2026 tobacco marketing season, some growers had deductions made from their sales proceeds to recover loans belonging to other individuals. TBZ Executive Director Robert Mwale assured growers that the board is treating the matter as a priority and remains committed to protecting the interests of tobacco farmers across the country. Mr. Mwale said the verification exercise will establish the facts surrounding each complaint and ensure that all legitimate cases are handled fairly, transparently, and in accordance with the law. He urged all affected growers to submit required documentation without delay to enable the board to resolve their cases as quickly as possible. The board also directed all licensed tobacco buyers to immediately stop recovering loans from growers who neither contracted nor authorized the loans. TBZ stressed that loan recoveries must only be made against the rightful beneficiaries of loan facilities and in line with contractual and regulatory requirements. The board warned that it would take regulatory action against any licensed buyer found engaging in practices that unfairly prejudice tobacco growers. TBZ encouraged affected farmers to visit their respective regional offices for further information and assistance as the verification process continues. The Zambia Environmental Management Agency, ZEMA, says it will conduct an on-site inspection to verify the cleanup and restoration works carried out by Sino Metals Leach Zambia Limited following the company's 2025 pollution incident in Chambeshi. The agency announced that it has received Sino Metals Leach Zambia Limited SMLZ's June 2026 progress report on the remediation exercise, which began in March and was scheduled for completion on June 30. ZEMA said it is reviewing the report before carrying out a verification inspection of the affected Kalusale area. ZEMA said the inspection will determine whether the cleanup and environmental restoration works meet the required standards before the agency provides feedback to the mining company. The agency added that once the cleanup exercise is confirmed as complete, it will conduct a comprehensive environmental audit to independently assess the extent of the remediation works and verify compliance with environmental restoration requirements. The audit follows the pollution incident that occurred on February 18, 2025 and forms part of ZEMA's oversight role in ensuring environmental accountability. ZEMA reaffirmed its commitment to safeguarding the environment and protecting the interests of communities affected by the pollution in Chambeshi and surrounding areas. The statement was issued by ZEMA Manager for Corporate Affairs, Ruth Kanyanga Kamwi. And that particular story takes us to our first set of commercials, but do join us for more news when we come back. Do stay tuned.
Voting is one of the few moments where we all have a voice.
One person, one vote.
No titles, no status.
Just a choice.
It's not about doing nothing.
It's about showing up.
Because your vote matters.
It's easy.
It's important.
It's ours.
Count me in.
Count me in. Count me in.
Count me in.
Count me in.
Count me in.
Did you know that you've got the right to complain against any radio or television broadcast? Did you also know that every radio or television station has an obligation to respond and address your complaints when aggrieved? The first step is to complain to the station not more than 3 months after the broadcast took place. It is expected that the station will respond reasonably to you, that is within 14 days. If not satisfied, then escalate your problem to the Independent Broadcasting
authority.
We're at Mass Media Complex, Ali King Carter Road, PO Box 32475, Lusaka, or call us on +260 211 250589 or visit our website at www.iba.org.zm. IBA, promoting ethical and professional broadcasting.
For decades, Zambia has searched for its promise. Through triumph, sacrifice, and difficult seasons. Many promised change, many spoke of hope, but the burden remained heavy. And then, a servant of the people stepped forward. Not perfect, not a magician, but a man willing to lead his people through the wilderness toward a better Zambia. Like Moses leading his people toward the promised land. The journey was never meant to be easy, because nations are not built overnight. They are built through faith, sacrifice, and perseverance. The work is not finished, but Zambia is moving forward.
On the 13th of August 2026, vote for Hakainde Hichilema as President of the Republic of Zambia. It's morning again in Zambia. Today, millions of our children will go to school more than ever before in the history of our country, because free education is opening doors that were once closed. Today, with over 40 million kwacha to spend, communities will build clinics, improve schools, drill boreholes, and transform lives using the increased CDF. Men and women will walk through markets and stations freely, without fear or intimidation from cadres. But the journey is not over, and we still have more work to do.
We've started the change. Now let's finish the job. On the 13th of August 2026, vote for Hakainde Hichilema as President of the Republic of Zambia. And let us continue to move Zambia forward together.
Before 2022, millions of Zambian children stayed home because school was unaffordable for many families. Today, things are much better. No more tuition fees, no more PTA fees, and no more examination fees. More than 2.5 million children are back in class across the country. Schools are feeding our children and classrooms are full again. And with the Enhanced Constituency Development Fund, more classrooms are being built. More desks are being made. More teachers are being hired. Because Bali cares. He has delivered this for all children across Zambia. Because free education is not just a policy. It is a promise to every Zambian child. A promise that poverty will not decide their future. A promise delivered.
On the 13th of August 2026, vote for Hakainde Hichilema as President of the Republic of Zambia. And let's continue to move Zambia forward together.
Welcome back in international news. The United Nations has warned that terrorist groups are expanding their reach across West Africa and the Sahel region using increasingly sophisticated methods and threatening the stability of coastal states in the Gulf of Guinea. Briefing the UN Security Council, Leonardo Santos Simao, the Special Representative of the UN Secretary General for West Africa and the Sahel, said armed groups continue to pose a serious security challenge, particularly in the Central Sahel and northern Nigeria. He warned that drug trafficking is becoming increasingly intertwined with terrorism, while humanitarian access remains severely restricted in many conflict-affected areas. He said women, children, and young people continue to bear the brunt of the violence, with attacks on schools threatening the future of entire communities. The Security Council also had calls for greater regional cooperation and dialogue to address the root causes of insecurity, including poverty, weak governance, and climate vulnerability. Here's a roundup of international stories courtesy of Africa News.
The United Nations has warned that terrorist groups are expanding their reach across West Africa and the Sahel, using increasingly sophisticated methods and threatening the stability of coastal states in the Gulf of Guinea.
On the security situation, the threat posed by terrorists and other non-state armed groups remains acute, especially in the Central Sahel and northern Nigeria, rapidly targeting coastal states in the Gulf of Guinea. These groups are adapting their tactics, increasingly using advanced technology such as drones, means of communication, and cryptocurrencies.
The Security Council also heard calls for greater regional cooperation and dialogue to address the root causes of insecurity, including poverty, weak governance, and climate vulnerability. Responding to the concerns, Burkina Faso's ambassador to the United States said countries like the Alliance of Sahel States remain committed to working toward peace despite ongoing security challenges. Burkina Faso and countries of the Alliance of Sahel States have faith in the future. We have already undertaken this struggle, and together with our people, we will continue to demonstrate great resilience. The Confederation and the Alliance is open to all dialogue, and we welcome all of the ongoing efforts, particularly the initiatives undertaken by Togo, the African Union, and the United Nations Office for West Africa and the Sahel. The UN says lasting stability in the region will require sustained international support, investment in humanitarian assistance, and stronger regional cooperation to tackle the underlying causes of conflict.
Health professionals fighting a deadly Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo are increasingly calling for a full-scale strike over unpaid wages. Frontline workers in the Ituri province, the epicenter of the epidemic, say they have not been paid since May 15th. Some of them began striking last week already.
The problem is
that the staff are outraged that they've been working for a month and a half now, and up to today they haven't received anything at all from the central government. At the Ebola treatment center in Rampara, health workers burned tires in protest on Monday and temporarily blocked access to the facility. They threatened to launch a full-scale strike with no minimum service provided if salaries and bonuses were not paid in 48 hours. Beyond money, there's also professional conscience. Of course, we're making demands because we're people with responsibilities. We're breadwinners in the family. At the beginning, it wasn't easy. Even our families put pressure on us, saying you're making us vulnerable. But since we've taken an oath, we've given over our bodies and souls. But now, in return, the Congolese government, our state, must also think of us. Because alongside our professional conscience, we also have wives and children who are studying. During a visit to Ituri on Thursday, Congolese Health Minister Samuel Roger Kamba acknowledged delays in payment. He gave assurances that the organizational issue at the root of the problem would be resolved. Even though the doctors still haven't been paid, they have made the effort to stay with us, the patients. They came to see us constantly to ask whether we had eaten and to encourage us to eat, even just a little. They reassure all the patients in this hospital. The current Ebola outbreak has killed more than 700 people in the DRC, but the World Health Organization says the actual death toll could be much higher. At least 112 frontline workers have been infected and 35 have died, according to the National Public Health Institute.
A court in Kenya ruled on Wednesday that Rastafarians would not be granted the use of cannabis on religious grounds. The ruling comes as Rastafarians in Kenya have waited for years on a decision on their use of marijuana under the constitutional right to religious freedom. Rastafarians essentially use marijuana as part of religious meditation. In Kenya, the possession of cannabis is punishable by a 10-year prison term and a substantial fine. Despite the law, the recreational use of cannabis is widespread in the country. This did prompt the judge who delivered the ruling to acknowledge that current law may be too harsh and that frank conversations about the subject were needed. Nevertheless, the judge maintained that Rastafarians had failed to show why current law impinged on their religious freedoms and rejected the petition in its entirety.
And finally, in sports news this evening, the government has begun clearing an outstanding payments owed to the Copper Queens in a move aimed at boosting the team's morale ahead of the 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations, WAFCON. Ministry of Youth, Sport and Arts Permanent Secretary Kangwa Chileshe announced the development during a send-off luncheon for the national women's football team at Procha Hotel in Lusaka Tuesday. Mr. Chileshe said the ministry had already started processing the payments and would provide the Football Association of Zambia FAZ with proof once the transactions were completed. He said the government remained committed to honoring its promises to the players, including equal pay, adding that President Hakainde Hichilema had directed the ministry to ensure all outstanding dues were settled. Meanwhile, FAZ President Keith Mwemba urged the Copper Queens to approach the tournament with confidence and avoid underestimating their opponents, noting that this year's WAFCON also serves as a qualifier for the FIFA Women's World Cup. And that sporting item brings us to the end of this edition of Main News on Camnet TV. But before we go, a recap of stories that made headlines. DEC denies plot to arrest Brian Mundubile. AIPAC urges government to discipline ambassadors engaging in partisan politics. NUPPEZ urges government to invest in teachers to sustain education reforms. In international news, UN warns terrorist threat is spreading across West Africa and the Sahel. In sports, government starts clearing Copper Queens arrears ahead of WAFCON. We now look at the Camnet verse for the day, coming from the book of Romans chapter 5, verse 8. It reads, "But God commandeth his love toward us, in that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us." That ends the Bible reading, and that concludes this edition of Main News on Camnet TV. But dear viewer, be reminded like always that Camnet TV is not just another channel. Now showing on Topstar channel 106, streaming live on Facebook, YouTube and on the Kenstream app. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Tapelo Joe Smarter. Good evening and God bless.